I had been part of one particular meeting where the youth, like your age, were present there. The huge, they were in, I think, one of the major conference room, and they had come up there with lot of questions to the member states. You know how many member states are there in the all UN system? There are 193 member states. There are 193 countries a part of this whole big organization. So they had a lot of questions. What touched me is one of the youth, like among you, like your age, one of them, he was sitting very far away from the conference, some corner. He was sitting somewhere else. Nobody could see him. But at the end of the conference, when it is coming to an end, he said, I have one question. I have one question. And it struck me because he said, you all are signing up for this new sustainable development goals. And this is also known as 2030 agenda. Agenda for 2030. So it's how many years from now on? I think it's 25 years, agenda for the world. So he had a question to ask to the member states, to the governments, who will be implementing these goals. He said, it's our world and we will be there after 25 years. We will be there in the political area, we will be there in the government, we will be there in everywhere, and you are not including us. So it was like eye-opening for the member states. We need to include everyone. Everyone's voice are very important to make these sustainable development goals. So today my question for you will be, I like to hear from each one of you, what you think and what is your contribution to the UN or to this process that started at UN, and how you think after 2030 the world will look like. It will be very, very important for me to take your voice to the UN as a UN NGO and to tell this is what our youth think at this time. So it will be good that if you could speak and I hear. Then if you have any other question to me to know about the UN, I will be open to you.
My name's Courtney. I'm a social work major, so I'll graduate in May. And I gotta get my master's and finish all my schooling, but I'd really like to work in a school as like a counselor. And I'm really passionate about the equal education part of the sustainable goals. I think that's a really important part because like you said, we're educating our future because they'll be the ones eventually up there. And so that's what I'm doing. But I also think people who work in schools can only do so much. I think there's a lot of not enough funding to do what we would like to do to make a difference.
So you are, what I can understand, the equal education, the equality part and the education. So what is the goal number of that? Are you aware of that? The sustainable development goal, there is a number, the goal. Okay, anything, but I am not going to answer you because you need to explore the goals and the targets, because after each goal there is targets. So if you need to go into the goal, we need to know the targets. So through the targets you can achieve your goal. So if you, that's good. Let me hear from others, then I can go on.
My name is Rosalind, and I'm also a social work student here at Avila. Graduate in May. I'm originally from Nigeria, and I do agree with the equal education piece of what you're saying. because outside of here in the United States, with other countries like Africa, continent, there's not really equal education. So I don't know what the UN is doing about that, because you do have boys are being sent to school and girls are being told to stay home to get married and not do anything. So I would like for, I guess, the education part of it to be taken to the deepest part of Africa and India and every other places where they don't have that opportunity for children or little girls coming up to be able to be educated and have a better future. Because at the end of the day, like you said, the boy was saying, if the older folks are making the decisions for the younger ones coming up, in 25 years, they probably will all be gone and dead. And then you're stuck with these little ones that haven't been educated on how to handle, whatever problem that they're going to face in the future. So that's really kind of like my, I guess, contribution to that, to really know what they're really doing about the equal education, not just in the Western world, but deeper part of the world.
Thank you. Yes. I'll come back to you. Okay, I'll hear from 2-3 more then. Anything? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Well, my name's Aria Dukes. I'm actually a film and digital media major. But for this year, I've done a lot of community involvement, and also and I'm also a freshman too. And I think what I've learned so far, we talked a lot about like NGOs this last semester, and I think that really that people need to participate in more community. There needs to be more community involvement, and I feel like if we're looking at problems like sort of natural disasters or any sort of tragedy that happens in a community and it destroys it economically, or that we should give to those communities and support them, but we need to really build up the community and help them re-establish themselves rather than the NGO companies kind of intervene and give and give and give. And that's my opinion, and I think it starts with the people with doing that. That goes for any sort of I guess institution, education or agricultural, or really just anything. It's about building up the people and getting the people involved so they can do it themselves and take care of themselves. So that's kind of
Okay, good. Good to know that. Yes.
I'll go. My name is Tudi, and I am from Istanbul, Turkey. I came here as an exchange student and then decided to stay because Avila offered international advocacy major. So I wanted to finish my studies with international advocacy because I found myself very passionate about all sorts of things that my major is fighting for. So this semester, my contribution for UN was to start United Nations Avila chapter. I just started it. I actually was telling people about it. I met with United Nations Greater Kansas City chapter and got in contact with their president, went to their meetings, and I really want to make this work here because as you said, youth is a very important part of United Nations because 25 years from now we will be there to live with all those components. And my contribution started with this chapter, and right now I am trying to get as many students as possible so we can start educating ourselves and educating our communities and the people that need us, to let them know about the things that are going on in our world right now and how can we develop these things. And oh God, my heart is beating very hard.
It's very exciting.
My words. I am very excited because I think this is a very important project, And there are so many university chapters on the East Coast, on the West Coast, in major universities. But when you look at it in Kansas or in Missouri, we are the very first youth chapter. And it is not going to be only open to Avila students, but I want to involve all the other students at universities around our community, so we can all work on these issues. We can all, because I feel like everything starts from acknowledgement. And as a person who is from Turkey, I have traveled over 20 countries, and what I'm passionate the most about is cross-cultural understandings, because that is, I feel like, the key sometimes. To if we people understand one another, then we can work on the issues together, and we can develop these issues. And the biggest mission of this organization for me is to give that acknowledgement to people and work on these global issues together, starting with the information given to our communities, and then we can develop and bring it to a bigger picture.
Right. Can I have of that one of that?
Yes.
Please. Okay, thank you. You can take it with me?
Of course,
Yeah,
that's
sure.
all yours.
Great. Others?
Okay. I was making sure no one else raised their hand too. My name is Olivia Deacon. I'm a senior social work student here at Avila, and I guess my contribution towards like the sustainability goals and things like that. I'm a member of the Justice Ministry here on campus, and we're also CRS ambassadors, so Catholic Relief Services ambassadors. And we participated in a training. Actually, there's 2 other individuals here that went with me in October, and learning how to be an ambassador. And one of the things that we touched on particularly was climate change. And they have a I Am Climate Change campaign, and so we did some work here on campus trying to get the word out to students about climate change and how that's a really important aspect of our world, and how we were talking about 30 years from now. Not only do we need to work with the people, but we need to acknowledge that our earth has needs too, and if our earth isn't a safe place, then it's going to be really hard for our people and our children to thrive too. So that's one of the goals that I think I'm particularly interested about is our climate and making sure that we have a healthy place to live.
Great. Anyone?
My name is Sabrina Holland. Like these guys, I'm a social work student. And I think as far as sustainability goes, I think a couple of them also touched on it, but it's awareness first. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't know that these goals existed until I knew about this event. And so I think it's probably pretty common for a lot of people to not even know that things are being developed or even know that there are problems, because we don't have that awareness, or I think we get a lot of stuff coming in and we don't always absorb everything, especially with media.
Right.
I mean, we just get a lot to process, and I think sometimes things kind of go under the table, especially things that we maybe don't think we can change or be a part of. So I think there's the awareness and then knowing that you can be involved in it. But I think the other piece is making people care. I mean, we're all here and we've got some really passionate people because they care. Like, they already care, and that's why they're here. But you've got, I mean, we're a very small part of Avila. So you've got all of these other people in the world that don't care, or they're just so focused on, well, that's not my problem, or 20, 30, that's years from now, you know. And I think that people kind of get stuck in the day-to-day things, like, I have an assignment due next week, that we kind of get caught up, you know. So I think it's also part of sustainability is making people care. Make them care about the issues and show them that it's not just somebody else's problem. And I think that's difficult to do, but I think it's possible. So.
Okay.
I'll just share real quick. Along the same lines, my name is Aaron. In terms of education and just the idea of raising awareness and where we are as people, in terms of education and younger generations, especially in America, it's so important and vital. Science scores and math scores, reading scores. When we talk about the idea of sustainable development and things like that, and those kinds of thoughts are not they're not developed in the younger school system, whether it's junior high or even high school. And so when we do have these people, that are passionate about these topics, and they get to college and they're 18 years old, and it's great, but we can begin to do this so much earlier. And then we have kids from other countries that, this is really passionate to them, and they're 13 years old and 14 years old. And we could be doing that, but the awareness that we have in terms of just what's important in our system. And we understand why that is, but just the idea that, grasping, there's a big gap there. And how can we go about changing that and raising that awareness, for younger generations?
Thank you.
I'm Lexi. I'm really passionate about climate change as well, and I think it's something that some people are kind of embarrassed to admit that they care about, because people have this notion that you're just like a hippie or something if you care about the earth. And I know in my high school, you just kind of got made fun of if it was something that you cared about. So I think that if people who are passionate about it can come up and kind of be leaders and just try to form a group together and what you do, raise awareness to people. I think if other people see that there's other people that are like them that care about it, they're more likely to come forward. And I know recently there has been more people that I've seen through social media who've started to care about it, especially since Leonardo DiCaprio said something about it at the Oscars. And so I think that's really good, and so it's something that I think is really important, because nothing else matters if our Earth isn't there to be along with us. So I think it's the most important thing besides education that people should know about, because I think that people don't realize that in 25 years, California is already running out of water, and that's going to affect the entire world. And if we can do more sustainable energy besides oil and fracking that's leading to earthquakes and more natural disasters, then it creates more jobs, and it's just a ripple effect. And I think if we can show people that climate and the earth, there's so many lasting effects of what we're doing now. And so I think if we can just show people that and get them to care about it, then it'll help everything else.
Anyone left or? Yeah.
My name is Victoria. I am a social work student, and I'm also a core leader of the Justice Ministry, which is what Olivia talked about. And a big thing that we keep on talking about is spreading awareness and getting people kind of fired up for these issues. But a big thing we do in the Justice Ministry is we have that piece that's just spreading awareness and educating our campus. But then we also have a bit of action, whether that is a conversation or we do some sort of advocacy piece where we write our legislators or our congressmen. I think in the Justice Ministry we stress the importance of both of those, because then once there's this awareness and everybody's fired up, it's just well, what do we do? We recognize that these are issues, but where do we go from here? And I think especially as college students who have that busy life, like Courtney said, having something that would be tangible for us to do, very regular. I don't know how to accomplish this, but making it to where there are little things that we can do in our daily lives to make a big difference. And whether that's having more recycling bins on campus. Avila's campus isn't exactly the best, for recycling. Not a shout out to our campus, but just saying. But I think making it more accessible, making justice and things being good, making that accessible, I think is a start to getting the word out about the sustainable goals and the word out about this is something that is normal, like making our planet safe and good and healthy for everyone. That should be normal. That is a basic human right. That's not something that should be worked for or people have to earn it. So I think making it accessible is probably step number one.
Okay. Thank you so much for your valuable inputs and your contribution as a youth. I bring it to us 3-4 important issues that you have raised here: education, environment and the earth, and also where it includes the climate change. And you have also brought about the awareness and the action that bringing together, and the generational gap that is between us here. It's a real tension that if you think the years back how people thought about this earth and how people thought about the education, thought about the girl child, the issues of the world, and how you think at this time is quite different. You are from Nigeria, right? What's your name, you said? Rosalind. So when you said that the girl child education, it's also is a issue in the all developing countries like Latin American countries, India, Asia, and also African countries. So it's like a world issue. It's like a world gender imbalance at this time. But the UN, you asked one question which touched me, what UN is doing. If I tell you what UN is doing, what the countries are doing, because the UN is an intergovernmental organization. UN cannot do by itself, cannot implement by itself what the country is not going to implement in the ground. So what happens if India says, I'm not going to look into this matter, the UN cannot enter because of the sovereignty of the country that holds. So each country has their own power to implement. But at this moment, I am very hopeful, Rosalind, why I can tell you, 193 member states of the UN have unanimously signed up this new sustainable development goal. In the history of UN, in the history of the working with the UN, never it happened that 193 member states are signing up for some goals. Got me? So be hopeful. And in that Nigeria is there, in that India is there, in that Pakistan is there, in that Peru is there, Argentina is there. So 193 member states said we will do it. And they have signed up saying, because if you go back, have you familiar with the Millennium Development Goals? Have you heard about it? Years back that the Millennium Development Goals, where only few countries have signed up. They said, it's not going to do anything for us. Maybe the developing countries will be going to implement this, not us. This is not for us. But this time, last year in September, 25th of September, in the General Assembly, this 193 member states said, we will do it. We are going to sign this. Together they have co-signed for this new sustainable development goals. So there is hope for every country to put pressure. And you said something, this NGOs, interfering of the NGOs, you mean that?
I feel like they do good things, and then there's other aspects of it that has damage. Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Yes, yes. You are right in some parts saying that, because someone said, I don't know who, but someone said, if you give a fish, you remember that thing? But if you give a fish when they are hungry but not teaching how to catch fish. So this is what sometimes the NGOs make mistake. They go do and interfere, as you say. But at this time I see NGOs are really doing very good. Changing policies and interfering with the governmental system that is not doing justice to the people, the poor, the vulnerable group. The NGOs take voice, bring the voice from the ground to the UN, and they have been really impacting at this time at the UN. This time the UN is looking at the NGOs in a very looking to make as a partners who will build up together and who will help us to implement these goals in the process. So I remember recently we had the NGO group, because at New York we have different committees of NGOs. NGO Committee on Migration, NGO Committee on Trafficking, NGO Committee on Women, NGO Committee on Youth, NGO Committee on Children, NGO Committee on, so you can have different issues built upon, and these NGO committees are part of it. So they try to bring this issue not only for USA, but the whole global issues, because of the representation that they have from the developing countries and the developed countries. So recently the NGOs have brought out about mining. Have you heard mining? The big companies that's impacting the poor countries. Which is the country that is more affected in mining? Can you tell me?
United States.
The United States, anything else? Any other countries?
What was your question again?
I'm asking, what are the countries more affected by mining, and what are the countries are affecting because of the mining? Who are the owners and who are the losers here in mining? Have you have any idea on that? It comes directly under climate change or global impact.
What kind of mining are you?
I'm talking about the mining, the fracking and the mining coal or whatever. Oil or is that?
And then diamonds.
Yes.
And then the material that makes batteries for your cell phones.
Mm-hmm. These are the root causes, the root cause why our Mother Earth is, how can say, I don't know how to put it, but they say you are raping the Mother Earth. That means for money, for power, for development, you say we are developing, but we are killing our own self. If you go to the developing countries, their land has been taken, their water has been taken, their jungle has been taken, they are displaced in the name of development. No sustainability. And as you rightly visioning, after 2030, there will be no earth which will be holding us together. The next generation will never see what the world is seeing today. So we are, as one of you rightly said, we need to, it's my world, it's my goals, I own it and I will do it. I am responsible for it. And I see among you you have leadership quality like you, coming from Turkey. And at this time, Turkey was chairing the GFMD, Global Forum for Migration and Development. And the issues that you may be aware of, the Middle East and the Syrian refugees and how they flow into your country.
We currently have 3 million Syrian refugees.
Yes. So I see you have started it to have this. This is really exciting me. I'm going to take this with me and share with my colleagues. And also, if you could tell me how to connect with those youth, those who are there very active in New York.
I can send you an email all about
so that you could be connected with them. They have regular meetings, they come to UN, they have their voice, and you will be great.
I have already talked on the phone with the manager of youth engagements of United Nations in Washington, D.C., and she gave me really good ideas.
Good.
And we already kind of started.
Yeah, because you need to proceed with, and what you have started is a great steps. And you know you are acting. The action is started. So you need to be now united, and you need to say it's what we start, what we are going to do, and how we are going to do. You know, any great leaders that came to this world, they started alone. They struggled, but later you see they are the great world leaders. And never think that you cannot do. The youth are the backbone of the society. Today's youth are the backbone for the sustainable development goal that is going to achieve for 2030 agenda. So I congratulate you for starting that, and also for all other friends, and wish you all the best for this, because this is what we need from the youth. Something to act with and something to begin with, and it's a very exciting news for me from your part that you started this. And something that you are talking about the Justice Ministry. Can I know a little more about how, what is your history of it, and how you are thinking of going ahead of, how you are connected to it's to the CSJs, or it's your own student group, or internationally how you are connected?
Yeah, we're actually one of there's 4 ministries in campus ministry now. So there's spirituality, service, community, and justice. So we're a part of campus ministry, and then right now there's 3 core leaders. So it's Olivia, Zari, and myself. So we are, through campus ministry, we're a part of the CSJs. I think all 3 of us are also part of different CSJ organizations on campus. But as far as our history, this is the first year for our justice ministry. Last year we had service, and that was mostly to do outreach in the Kansas City area, specifically with different organizations kind of already connected to Avila. And so this past year, Olivia and I were the first core leaders, and we really just wanted to be a place for that same service component, but outreaching to something bigger than just lifting up a shovel. So we started spreading more awareness on different issues. Every single month is a different theme. This theme is welcoming the stranger, specifically talking about those coming from Syria and refugees. And we have different events each month supporting those different themes. And it's really free-flowing right now. We're still trying to figure it all out, but we are connected with CRS, which is Catholic Relief Services.
The new routes that something to do with the new routes with migrants, oh, you may not be aware. Okay,
Yeah,
that's fine.
we know about
We'll
that.
look into it though.
Yeah, but that's where we actually got the idea for the climate change campaign through CRS. So it's a lot of
good.
different groups.
Yeah, thank you. Can I have any you have any kind of website or how you get through your group? You have created some kind of media
Yeah.
through who?
On our Avila website, there is like a student organizations tab that you can click on, and then campus ministry is one. And then I think, if I'm correct, it breaks down the different ministries and just gives you like a nice professional blurb about each each ministry. And we can direct you through that if you want to see.
Sure,
It's kind of weird.
I'm interested because also the CSJs are having the justice ministry, the peace, justice and peace coordinators, and in different countries. And I'm also looking forward how the students from one country to another country will be connected with the same issues, the same goals, or to achieve something, which could be really will connect. It will be connecting us, the CSJs, and this students' body, not only in the United States, but there are also. I think that some of you have gone to India. What's your experience in India? How you felt in India?
It was one interesting place for me. I was.
How many of you have gone to India? Let me know. Okay, 4 of you. Okay, okay. Yeah. What's your experience? What was your experience? Did you build up any relationship with any other students there?
I didn't go with them.
Okay.
I went by myself for 3 months to travel.
Where you were? Oh, you were traveling the whole
I was backpacking for 3 months, and I volunteered in a couple of schools to help students with their English classes and art classes.
Where?
Where?
Yeah.
I've been to 9 different cities. I started off in the central India, New Delhi, Varanasi, Jaipur, Agra, Khajuraho, and then went up to the north to Kashmir, and then from there Manali, Leh, Dharamsala, and then where else? I think that's it. Yeah.
The whole north part you have covered.
But I experienced 3 different religions. When you're in the central India, you're surrounded by a lot of Hindus and
Yes.
Hindu temples, and so I went to a couple local houses and talked to them about their daily life and kind of followed them through their days and how they practice their religion. And then up in Kashmir, interact with Muslims, and then Dharamsala and Manali, Buddhists, and that was a very interesting experience for me, but it was also very heartbreaking at so many points.
What was the heartbreaking?
The countless homeless people was very heartbreaking. The very first night I landed in India, even though I've read a couple of books before I went there to know a little bit about the system and the people and the culture, I knew that the poverty level was very low. I knew that it was a country that needed so much support and all that. But I would never guess that I would see literally hundreds of people sleeping on the streets. I came across women try to sell their babies to me. So that was very. That's why I say that. So, yeah. But at the same time, it's such a rich country, like you say, with the culture and the colors and people. Just some of them, they even though they live in poverty, they still have so much hope. It can be related to their religion because they believe in reincarnation. They believe in reaching some sort of a point that then it will help them get out of that. But at the same time, the caste system is still kind of there, even though a lot of books suggest that it is not, but it's still there. Even little children prefer sometimes not to interact with others. And that's actually one thing that I really want to work on when I say cross-cultural understandings. Poverty level can change and depend on country to country, but in order for us to work together and develop these things together, we have to understand those levels and how it differs.
Yes. Others, those who went, where did you go in India? Which place?
We went to several different cities. We started in Delhi, and then we went to Agra, and then we flew south to like Tamil Nadu and Chennai, and then we went to another city even farther south. I can't pronounce it very well.
Madurai. Yeah.
Yes.
Where?
Madurai.
Madurai. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we did more of the southern part of India.
Okay, great. Any other questions that you have for me? Or you want to know about? I'm there to tell you. Or if you want to share about yourself, anything that you wanted more to share and which I can take with me to share with my NGO colleagues. And
Yeah, my name's Logan. I guess just I feel like a really important part of the sustainability thing is just being aware of what you're doing, like on a personal level, like what you're consuming and of what you're giving back, I guess, like making sure you're not wasting food and making sure you're getting the right food that's like produced ethically and everything. So just kind of staying aware of that. And like I don't know much about it honestly, so I'm trying to get better about that. So
you said that you don't know what you mean.
I don't know much about like where to get like ethically produced food and everything like that. Yeah, I guess that's basically it.
You know, I think. What's your name? You said. Trudy. Like Trudy and others, those who have gone to India, you choose a country, maybe in Africa or India, or any kind of, even in Latin America. You choose a very poor status of people living. You choose to live with them at least some time of your life. You will know the entire world through that experience. And no books will teach you. How many books that we study in our life? We may finish so many. But being with that situation will teach you, and you will become master of experience than any other book. So if you really want to understand this sustainability, poverty, education, gender, the cultural differences that you brought out so well, I really want you in your life, this student's lifetime, you just arrange and you just be with your, your holidays or vocational period that you get sometimes, and try to live with these people who will teach you what is life and who will teach you what really matters for someone to be a human being. Because as you have seen hundreds sleeping on the streets, that's true. And there are also people, 100 living without food, 100 living without education. Like you people have caught up with trafficking, human trafficking. They have been sold. They are in the, I don't know which part of the underworld they are in at this time. It's so terrifying, this world is such. But we are there, we never lose a hope. Pope Francis said, never lose hope. We are hopeful people. And if you lose that, no more that we are able to give to someone. But at the same time, to understand this situation, we need to be with someone with that same situation. Otherwise, how much ever we are researching, going, and that will give us only the book language or the intellectual understanding. But practical life, if you could spend, that could be my advice to you, spend sometimes with the vulnerable people, those whom you think, those whom the society never see that they are existing in this world, those who never even know what is education, they never even know what is, because some of, it struck me when I came to United States, and especially in New York, living there, the throwaway culture. You know what I understand the throwaway culture? Such a beautiful things will be outside in the house. And I see in my country, in India, we don't have this. For the poor, they don't even, like a throwaway, this is our culture here now to throw away something. But it really thought, because I am walking on the road, always going to my office and coming, and sometimes I see such a beautiful furnitures and things are all thrown away because they don't want. And if we could think, if we are in this throwaway culture, we can throw away the human being, we can throw away the values of the society, and we can throw away our own self. No more conscience with us. So it touched me because how the status we live in developing countries and developed countries. So unless we are aware that at this time, where these 7 billion people are heading to at this time in the world, that is why this new sustainable development goal is set to achieve together, that to live again in this world like one family. We are many religion, and we think that there are several gods, and I don't know, we think as soon as I remember this Islamophobia, that's as soon as you are Muslim, some terrorism is there, we are frightened of each other, of human being. And unless we understand the other one is human being like me, my brother, my sister, the suffering, the pain one is going through, this world is not going to be really sustaining and developing. That much I can tell you. And thank you so much for your inputs and your presence here. I'm really delighted. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.